Bela Fleck is widely known as one of the world's most innovative and technically proficient banjo players. Bela was born July 10, 1958 in New York City. His parents named him Bela Anton Leos Fleck, after three prominent composers, Bela Bartok, Anton Dvorak, and Leos Janicek. Bela was first attracted to the banjo when he heard Earl Scruggs play the Beverly Hillbillies theme when he was just 15 years old. Bela went on to attend the New York City High School for Arts and Music. But he wasn't studying banjo there, he was studying French horn. While he was doing this though, he was constantly trying to adapt the banjo to bebop music. Shortly after high school, he moved to Boston and joined the group Tasty Licks. Soon after, he released his first solo album, Crossing the Tracks. This was only 5 years after he started playing banjo. A few years later, while touring with another band, Bela was approached and asked to join the band Newgrass Revival. He would go on to play with Newgrass Revival for 9 years, and during this time he released his second solo album, Drive. This album was later nominated for a Grammy. In 1988, Bela formed a supergroup that came to be known as Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. This is when he really started getting into the jazz fusion genre. Bela Fleck and the Flecktones released several albums, including Flight of the Cosmic Hippo and more recently, Rocket Science. Bela Fleck and the Flecktones and Newgrass Revival are what he's most known for. Bela had an astounding career, especially for a banjo player playing jazz fusion music. He's won 13 Grammys and has been nominated 42 times besides that. Bela has been nominated for Grammys in more categories than any other musician ever. He's been nominated in categories such as bluegrass, jazz, pop, country, classical, folk, spoken word, composition, and arranging. Bela says he's always had a diverse taste in music. At one point, he even put out an album of just classical songs called Perpetual Motion. He also released a Christmas album called Jingle All the Way. The song playing in the background right now is from that album and is his rendition of the popular song Sleigh Ride. Bela has also had a very extensive touring career and has performed at many widely popular concerts and festivals. These include the High Sierra Music Festival, the Montreal International Jazz Festival, the Toronto Jazz Festival, Jazz Fest, and even Bonnaroo. In all, he's released 12 solo albums, 15 albums with Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, 9 albums with Newgrass Revival, and has performed more than 43 times as a guest musician or one-time collaboration musician. Bela is still very much alive and kicking, and you can find him on Twitter at Bela Fleck Banjo. Bela did amazing things for the world of jazz and jazz fusion, and especially for the banjo. He took an instrument that is more traditionally used for bluegrass and country music and adapted it to a completely new style. Bela Fleck was a true innovator and changed the world of banjo playing for everyone. He showed what jazz music is really about. Not the types of instruments used or the proficiency in them, but that music comes from the soul, and that anybody can play jazz regardless of what instrument they're proficient in. While you may not think of the banjo as a traditional jazz instrument, Bela made it work. For that, jazz and banjo players will always be grateful. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to follow Bela on Twitter.